What's up, YouTube? This is PN Collector here, bringing you the deck of the month for April. I decided to go over Machinas for this month because since the beginning of the format in March, a lot of decks have been coming out of the woodworks, and with Blackwings and GBs being played, a lot of the Machina structure deck that just recently came out within March has started to get a lot of attention, and a lot of players have started to realize how much power they've actually started to have. Now I'm going to go over the deck that I'm playing for right now. I played it at locals recently, and it's basically, most of the deck is comprised of like 3 structure decks and with other minor tech cards put into it. It's actually a very cheap deck to play. It really costs pretty much almost nothing except for like a few cards that you'll need for it. But other than that though, it's up to the player's choice what they want to run, and that's actually pretty good because it's one of the few decks in this format that is cheap but very effective. So I'm going to go over the deck for you guys right now. First thing off is going to be 3 Machina Fortress. This is pretty much what allowed gadgets to become more of a threat in this environment. Machina Fortress has about 3 amazing effects with himself. First off, you can discard a level 8 or more monsters from your hand to special summon him from your hand or graveyard. Now, the ruling that Konami recently did with it is that you can also discard itself and another machine type monster in your hand to special summon it, and that instantly allows you to drop multiple monsters in a single turn. Now, what makes him even more powerful is the fact that he can also be searched out through the deck by another card. And his other effect, for instance, though, is when he's targeted by any effect monster your opponent controls, he's able to instantly look at your opponent's hand, and then you're able to discard 1 card among them of your choice. And it instantly allows you to get public knowledge of what your opponent is playing and help you to see what plays they're doing, so they pretty much have a hard time of playing around him. So he's going to take something either way for being on the board. Then his final effect, to make him even more effective, if he's ever destroyed in battle, you get to destroy 1 card on the field. Now that instantly allows him to say that if you're better than him, he's going to make sure that he destroys something along with that. If you target him by an effect monster, he instantly gets knowledge of something your opponent's using. And he can revive himself if you chuck monsters to special summon them that equal 8 or more. So this automatically proves that this card has given dominance to the deck. The tutor card that searches him out, Machina Gear Frame. We run 3 of those. Machina Gear Frame is a union monster, and whenever it is normal summoned, you can search your deck for any card with Machina in its name, like Machina Fortress, other than a Machina Gear Frame, and add it to your hand. Which means it helps to set up as a mini Stratos in a sense. And his other ability, which a lot of players ignore though, is that you can attach it to any union monster you can attach to a machine, and it prevents that machine type monster from getting destroyed, and the union will get destroyed instead. So that helps set up with a lot of protection for your fortresses or any of your other machine type monsters you have in the deck. I take a single copy of this card, and that's Machina Force. With it, it serves no other purpose other than discarding fodder and being able to be searched out by Machina Gear Frame. With it, I'm able to discard it from my hand to instantly get to special summon a Machina Fortress from my graveyard to the field. Now, the card that I liked in this deck was also from the starter deck, was Scrap Recycler, 2 of them. Scrap Recycler has the ability whenever it's normal summoned or special summoned, you can chuck a machine type monster from your deck to the graveyard. Instantly, that allows you, if you need to, you can get ready a Machina Fortress, especially if you want to swarm the board. Scrap Recycler's other effect, too, is you can return 2 level 4 Earth-type machine monsters back to your deck and draw 1 card. Now, this helps to recycle loops, especially with Gear Frame and even any of the gadgets, and helps you to draw an extra card you'll need for cards that have already been wasted and used up to begin with. Now, the little hearts of the deck, 2 green gadgets, 2 red gadgets, and 2 yellow gadgets. With them, back before, gadgets didn't really have a lot of usefulness. If they were in your hand, they served no other purpose. So if you drew multiple gadgets, it promoted like bad hand management that you really couldn't work with them. But thanks to cards like the Machina Fortress, it allowed the deck to expand and become more aggressive even if they were in your hand. It acted as a benefit for being in there. I took the single copy of the Neo-Spacing Grand Mole. Synchros become a huge problem in the format, along with monsters that tend to be set a lot, like Raikos, Nimble, Hamsters, even Spies. All become kind of a threat for this deck, so the Hamster helps get rid of those things by allowing for different plays, so that way you're not stuck in a complete locked situation. So that's why Mole's in there. Now on to the spell cards. I run 3 Smashing Grounds. Smashing Ground is excellent this format. Coming back from 1 from the ban list now to 3 has given gadgets the 1-for-1s that they missed long ago. and it takes most of the common threats out, other than Stardust, of course, but that's why the deck has other answers towards them. 2 Fissures, another way of multiple destructions and 1-for-1s for the deck. 2 Book of Moons, help stop synchros, big plays that other players will use, and just a little bit of a counter since it can be durable in one way or another. Now, what I like for this deck is a card that also was introduced in the starter deck that a lot of people had before but just didn't really look at it now, was 2 Solidarities. Solidarity is amazing in this deck for the fact that you constantly get a monster to the board with the gadgets and gear frames, so all of your monsters will get an 800 bonus, and nothing says that I'm scarier than a yellow gadget that's 2000, a red that's 21, and a green that's 22. Constantly getting summoned to the board. And that's worse because they even overcome Stratos. Now, combined with Gear Frame and Fortress, Gear Frame will be 2600 attack, and Fortress will be 33. So it sets up for strong plays and quick damage to your opponent. 1 single Pot of Avarice. I tried 2 before but didn't like it as much and switched over to just 1 since the Scrap Recycler does the work as well. But being able to recycle some of the gadgets and machines that you use really does help. A single enemy controller. This is something that I personally like to use, just a single copy of enemy. It helps to manipulate some things with the game and go over big pushes with cards. So especially if they drop like a Gores or Treg, you're able to get over it by taking it and attacking with it, or just getting it out of the way to begin with. Since we're running machines, limiter removal helps set up bigger plays with the OTKs, especially with Gear Frame and Fortress, so it really does help to push for that. Mystical Space Typhoon for back row control and just getting rid of threats that could be in there. Heavy Storm helps to deal with multiple things that could be a problem for them. I know a lot of people are worried because of Starlight Road, but it's still a necessary card still either way. You can't always be afraid of what Starlight Road will do to you. I like to use the Giant Trunade because Trunade is amazingly good for this format, especially for big plays. It helps get rid of things that are threats like setups like people use with Starlight Road, Oppression even multiple backfield. It'll help get rid of that so you can go further and push for game with other cards. Now on to the traps. Run 2 bottomless trap holes. Becoming more of a staple this format, and with a lot of different monsters that are big, having a lot of effects, they make quite a bit of difference. Thanks to also the structure deck, 3-dimensional prisons. Basically with the Stardust heavy environment that we're getting, this instantly becomes one of the best cards that came out for everyone to use. The starter deck each has 1, the structure deck each has 1, which is amazing too because it helps you overcome a lot of threats that could come out in the game, protects your gadgets, and is a great 1-for-1. To protect most of your setups, Solemn Judgment helps pretty much get rid of any of the common problems that are out there, and everyone's using it at 1. Proxy, I use the 1 Starlight Road. With all the setup that you'll have, whether the Heavy Storm, Black Rose Dragon, or potentially Torrential Tribute or Mirror Force your cards, Lightning Vortex, it helps you get rid of those threats and keep your maintenance on your board, especially if you want to push for game with any of your machine-type monsters. And of course the single Mirror Force and Torrential Tribute, and like I said before, even though Starlight Road's out there, you can't be afraid of it, and it helps for other setups as well.